Greetings, everybody. It's me, Knight, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Y'all know how I am. Like from time to time, most of the time I do my readings, I should say, and then every once in a while I'll tell the experience or do a request that somebody asked me from my channel. But today I just wanted to bring up. It's kind of like it's like a story slash experience about spirits, but I want to ask, y'all can go in the comment section and if y'all feel comfortable to see if y'all resonate with what I'm about to tell you guys, or if you've been through something like this, or if you ever thought about yourself as this, or if you feel like you met somebody in your life as far as that seem unique. So what I'm bringing up is this. So nowadays, as people are starting to be more, I guess, awakened, some people feel like their lineage is from a different source. So everybody, as y'all should know, everybody doesn't practice Abrahamic religion. So some people may feel like their soul is connected to Sumerians. Some people may feel they're connected to star seeds, right? Some people may feel they're not from Earth. Some people might feel like they're Lyrians, right? Or Arcturians, right? Um, or Pallades. So I'm bringing this up, guys. Y'all can, if y'all feel comfortable, if you want to write in the comment section, or even if you don't want to write in the comment section, just think to yourself, like, you might be in the family that you're in, right? And it doesn't mean you don't love your family. It doesn't mean you're better than your family. But have you thought about, like, maybe your soul in particular? You've definitely incarnated as a human before. But when you really look at your soul at an ancient level, maybe you could be from a different constellation or a different realm of heaven, maybe a different world, realm of the underworld. If you feel like you're a soul that's more darker, or you may feel like you're connected to the earth, right? Maybe you feel like you're in a past life you was a fairy. Maybe you feel like you were a demon. Maybe you feel like you're an angel, right? Because the reason I'm bringing this up, right? In case y'all don't know, I used to be in the military. I retired out. I was Navy slash connected with the Marines because I used to like be with the corpsmen, right? And so when you're a corpsman, you can be attached to Marines, right? So long story short, throughout my travels outside of the military, I would go to different countries, like India, Northern Africa, Iraq. I've been in Japan, Bali, Thailand, so many countries, Australia, and I would meet the indigenous, and I would meet the locals. And also, growing up, I lived in Italy, Germany, and I noticed I would see different spirits, but I noticed that certain spirits would come to me and certain spirits wouldn't. And I noticed that certain cultures, um, other than what they physically look like and what they may pray to, they had like a different essence about them, right? It's like I feel like we're all connected to source, but sometimes when I meet people who are spirits, they are humans, they're alive. Sometimes it seems like the soul could be a little bit darker or lighter, and it's not necessary that they're bad guys. It's not necessary that they're evil, they're doing harm. They may have a different soul lineage, and I just feel like as humans, at face value, we just see the human form, right? Which, okay, we are all interconnected, and so is our soul. But from my perspective, the creator us all, just like we have male gender, female gender. I feel like the soul has feminine and male aspects of itself, and it can play out into whatever it wants to be. But I do feel like we have a tendency, if we want to be light or dark or in between, neutral. Now, I do feel, whether you want to believe this or not, I do feel like they've. This has nothing to do with, again, just before I say this has nothing to do with any religion. What I'm about to tell you on this next part, but I do feel like there are certain souls that may be incarnated angels. I do feel like there are souls that are incarnated demons, and I do feel like there are souls that are incarnated somewhat demi God, deity kind of forms, like not God itself, but like an aspect of a deity. Okay, because I believe that in a lot of books and texts that I do feel like there were spirits that mingle with certain cultures and family lineages. And then I feel that certain families, even if they're not part of a deity or a goddess or a god, they might spawn a child. So like they may have it where every 200 years a child will be born with a certain soul quality, whether light or dark or neutral. And I say this because sometimes when you meet humans, you wonder why some people can be so corrupt, or you wonder why some people can be so bright or have other types of gifts, or maybe they seem like they're very outcasted. You never understand why certain souls are outcasted or certain souls think a different way. I feel like it's the soul lineage, seriously. So just like how people think they're star seeds or things like that, I feel like, or they think they're a Christ's child. I just feel from what I've seen, I do feel like they're souls that are from different spirit energies. Like, but they're all still a part of the omnipresent creator. But I feel like it's because we live in a world of duality, that because we have this dark and light energy, I just feel like some people are more prone to be more of a darker energy, and some people are more prone to be light, and some people are prone to be neutral. But at the end of the day, they still all come from the light, because if you think about it, everything came out of some type of darkness, right? Which is that's a different form of light, right? And then it came into being, kind of like, the child's in the womb is dark, and it comes out a human, right, into the light. And that's what I see. Now what I say when I'm making this comment, I really don't feel like it's many. And from my personal perspective, I feel like it's less than, like, probably 1.8, 1.5%. I definitely don't feel like it's more than 2%. I feel like it's like 1.5, 1.8, definitely less than 2% of people on Earth that could be connected or spawned from some type of deity or goddess form or godlike form. Because again, yes, we're all part of the omnipresent source, but I just feel like throughout my travels and reading texts and just what I've been meeting, I just feel like no. And then also, a reason I'm bringing this up, right? I'm gonna use a personal experience myself, right? In my family, there may be like 4 or 5 people that might be kind of gifted, like where they might go to sleep and have a premonition, and I might have one family member that may just be sensitive to energy, but nobody has gone to the depths of where I am. And so, like, and then when I talk to everybody, even if they have certain situations like me, it doesn't resonate with them. And so, it doesn't mean that I'm better or anybody who's better who may have a different type of gift. It just doesn't resonate. But then I'll meet friends, people I don't know, as far as like they're not blood, and I meet them when I was in the military, and I become closer with them than my own family. It doesn't mean I'm not close to my sister or my family. It's just that I get closer because, like, I have some type of soul connection with certain people, even if they're opposite culture. And I noticed that as soon as I went to San Diego, one of the first people I met was this Greek lady. She's like a sister to me, and our souls very connected. We had similar thought processes, similar things, and then her mother ended up adopting me, meaning like a godmother. Like, I already have a real mother, but she chose to adopt me as her son, and everything like that. And I noticed that my friend will always have me taking care of her mother. And I'm like, I never understood that at that time frame, because I was like 22, 23. And then I remember one day, the first day I picked her mom from the train station, her mom has like regular brown eyes like mine, but I noticed in my third eye, I saw like these gold amber, I should say, amber looking eyes. They almost look snake-like, but they're like amber. And I was like, what was that in my mind? Because I was driving her to like a hotel, and I saw this in my mind's eye, and I never understood this. Well, forwarded like 6 years later, I get stationed in the desert, 29 pounds, and I was trying to find a home, and I was driving through the streets all night, and for some reason I sat there, and I don't know why, I just fell asleep at the wheel. Like, I mean, I was parked in a parking space in the neighborhood when I was looking for a home to rent, but I fell asleep because I was so tired. And when I fell asleep, I heard a tap at the window, and some Hispanic looking dude is laughing, telling me, "Hey, you need help, amigo?" It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and he had like these amber eyes. Now, he smelled like, no offense, death. I didn't know if he was a human or whatnot, and he scared the heck out of me. And I was in a truck, and it looked like he was levitating. And I just flew. I left him. I was flying down the street, like a bat out of hell, because I was spooked. And then he was following me. He was laughing. His eyes were glowing. Next thing I know, I was so tired from driving, I took a nap in my truck that night, and and then when I woke up that morning, when the sun came up, I saw a home for rent, right? And I called the person, see if it was available, and they said yes, right? Now, what's interesting is that home, it was on a street called 2 Mile Road, which is a street I had prayed about a year before I went to Iraq. A year before I went to Iraq, I prayed to God that, like, I wish I could have a home on Second Street, right? Because, like, I thought it was a beautiful place to live at on this certain street. It had like nice homes, and I was able to get it. But one reason I'm bringing this up is if it wasn't for that spirit with the amber looking eyes waking me up in the night, this Hispanic looking dude, I don't think I would have found that home. So it seems like it was like a guide or a spirit that was put in my place. But the reason I'm bringing up the amber eyes he had, because that's the same amber looking eyes I saw in my third eye when I met my friend, when I said it's my sister's mother, who called me her godson, right? Who's Greek, and in my third eye I saw these eyes that she had. Okay, and then when I met my friend, I never understood why I was being friends with her. She kept telling me that God wants you to be friends with me. Like, I'm supposed to help you. I'm like, what are you talking about? I need to help you. We gotta cleanse you. We gotta help you. I'm like, what are you talking about? And so, cause she like got a lot of dark ones, so she kept doing. So that's how we ended up meeting, cause she was a healer. But then we became friends. Her friend, or my friend. Now we're like family. And then her mother accepted me, and then her mom would buy me gifts, take me out, and then it went from doing like spiritual work for like a week to just being friends, like literally just friends, talk about anything. And I remember I told her I want to be like you one day. She's like, you will be. And I was like, what? And at that time, I wasn't really comprehending that, right? And so, where she's talked to me, all that stuff. So I'm just saying that after I separated from her, uh, I would say like 8 years after that, I went to Japan, and I see these spirits with these amber eyes every once in a while. Cause what happens is I see spirits with eyes like mine, or regular eyes, whether they're blue or gray, just regular eyes. But every once in a while, there'd be one spirit in my vision with like these amber looking eyes, and that tells me they're connected to me. So it's like anytime I see a, um, a spirit with amber looking snake looking eyes, they're connected to me. If they don't have that, they're not connected to me. And then forwarded after that, I retired out the military, and I come home, and I had another vision of a woman who looked like a mother figure at this throne looking area. She had amber eyes, and I realized she was connected to me. And then I noticed she was sending people, this deity or a goddess. It looked like a goddess energy. Whatever she felt like I needed help from time to time, she would send these spirits to come after me. And they would take form sometimes as they could be Hispanic. They'll come take form as a Caucasian man or African American man, whatever they want to do to get my attention. But they always had the eyes. That's why I know the difference between them and like other spirits that have like regular eyes, whether brown, blue, or gray. And the dominant one is this European looking dude. He looks like he's 7'6". In my vision, he looks 10 feet. But if he was to be in my room, he's huge. He's massive. He looks like some type of Viking, just massive, 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 massive. And he has these amber eyes. And I've been seeing him for like, definitely he's been making himself known the last 5 or 6 years. I don't know what's going with that. And then he'll always show up with my future self. Like it seems like I hit a certain age of elderlyhood in this life, and it was time for me to go. And it seems like my future self came with me with this man, and they're like guiding me. So it's like he's guides me, and my future self guides me. But my future self has those amber eyes, these amber looking snake eyes with this man. And then I saw myself with this goddess energy later on. And then at the end of the day, it's still that's what I see. And then whenever the source comes to me, the omnipresent source, what do y'all want to call it, Christ or God's source, it comes to me in the sun image, like where I have a vision, and it's like the voice is coming out of the sun, and it's telling me like people need to love more. Tell people to like acknowledge the God source. Like that's what it tells me, because that's the same voice that I envisioned that I would see when I was in the military. When Kim Jong was shooting missiles towards Japan, I was on my ship was out there. Trump, when he was in office, sent my ship out there. We were about to light them up. We had 75 tomahawks ready to go. Nobody knew that. It was sacred, you know. I can speak about it now. And long story short, I had a vision where the God source brought me up, because again, it's not a physical form; it's just an energy. It brought me up, and it felt like it weighed my heart, and it told me, "Do you know why this is happening?" And I said, "No." And it says, because people don't acknowledge my presence, and people do not love each other enough. And the next thing I knew, I saw ships coming from San Diego. I saw ships coming from China and Russia and all that, and they were fighting in the middle of the Pacific. It was crazy. And then this is like in the far, far future. That hasn't happened yet. But prior to that, though, they did show me Russia going to Ukraine. They showed me there's a man with a secret, and they said they think the Soviet is dead, but it's not. They're going to resurrect, and guess what they did? The Soviet did resurrect, right? And that was because I had that vision in 2017, September, and guess what happens? Towards now, 2021, 2020, 2019, all that, what did Russia do? Go towards Ukraine, right? And so I'm just telling you guys, a lot of places I've been, even in Iraq, Iran, I felt like a lot of energies from Mesopotamia, right? I felt like I kept having visions like Sumerian people, stuff like that, ancient Sumerian, right? And then they would talk to me, and this is what gets a person like me to think outside of my flesh. Meaning, I love the culture I am. I'm very diverse, very mixed culture. I love the skin, man. I love my complexion. I love everything about me, but I don't let what I see in the mirror or how my family treats me make me feel confined or obligated to just do everything my family wants to do. I don't make my culture or my flesh make me be obligated to do whatever my culture wants to do, because sometimes I don't agree with what my culture does, and it's kind of hard even to say I can try to agree when I'm mixed. So it's kind of like I have to make a decision. Do I want to hang with my Caucasian side? Do I want to hang with the African American side? What do I do? Right? And the Indian side is almost non-existent, because you know how things were colonized. It's almost non-existent. I just have land as evidence for my Native American side. So for me, it's not an easy thing. And so, and even with that said, I still, even if I was able to just keep going back and forth like I've been doing, speaking to whoever I want to speak to, I still don't let my thoughts and my energy make me feel confined to the flesh. I think it's dangerous. I feel like we should respect our skin we in, but I feel like when you get too caught up on culture and all that, it doesn't mean you don't respect your ancestors. But like, I'm not trying to be stuck here in a situation like certain ancestors were before me, no matter what they are. I just think it's not wise. Because I feel like when we do that, that's a high chance that you'll most likely get back reincarnated back in the same culture. And I'm a free will. I like to break boundaries. I like to experience everything. And again, with my past lives, I keep seeing myself in different cultures, different time places around the world. Like, I saw myself as an Indian one vision. I had a vision where I was an Italian man. I had a vision I was a female, a Caucasian female. I had a vision where I was a Chinese woman. I had a vision I was a Chinese man. I had a vision I was in North Africa. It's like I have visions of my future self. And the reason I know, because my angels make it known that I know this. And I had a vision when I was in Greece. I was like a warrior looking guy. Then I had another one in Italy. I was writing. I was doing writings. Then I had another one. I was doing magic in Germany, and I had two to four of them in Spain. I was a witch, a female. They took me, tried to burn me. So long story, I just had all these visions, right? And Native American. So it's just like that tells me that we can be anything as long as the God source wants us to. I had a vision I was in Hades, which y'all will call hell and underworld. I remember I was trying to figure out what I was doing down there, right? And this is in a past life, but it showed me a past life as an afterlife, right? I saw myself in the heavenly states, right? It's like I can go through liminal spaces. And then they show me you're a shaman. You did this, that, and the third. You carry this energy in your soul. That's what they told me. Then I had another vision where I met a bunch of Wiccans in my visions and witches all over the place. And nothing but females. It was probably like this, me and two men. It was like everybody else was just nothing but women, all black, just like the traditional women witch outfits, everything. And they weren't as kind and nice like you see nowadays. They were nice to me, but they were not people who play around. Yeah, I was probably like the only one with tan skin. Everybody else was like these fair skinned European looking women. It was the wildest vision I ever seen. So I'm just telling you guys, like, I'm only bringing these dreams up because these are the stuff that the spirits that are connecting me showed me. Maybe you guys have had certain experiences where you might have had a family member or a spirit that didn't look like your family member or your culture, but somehow you're being guided by it. For example, you could be European, you could be an African American, you could be Spanish, but for some reason you had an Asian spirit come to you. You might have had like Lakshmi come to you, but you're European and you're like, why is Lakshmi coming to me? You might have had like a Hindu guy come to you, like, why has this happened to me and I'm African American? Like, I'm just bringing this up for you guys. You don't know. Maybe your soul is connected to it. Other than people keep thinking that deities are trying to reach out to you, how do you not know that this deity has been connected to you the whole time? Like, you don't get from the time of your birth. Does this make sense? Getting with this, it's kind of like when you hear certain stories, like people in the Bible, right? Certain books that say like, not that I'm agreeing with this, okay? And I'm not demonizing her, but like, for example, people demonize Lilith and they're like, oh, she spawned demons. Well, how do you know that your soul might not have been a part of her, but you're in the human flesh, but you so brainwashed and indoctrinated, but also you came down here out of the womb, not knowing what we were, and you're not understanding why you're being oppressed as a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. You might have been spawned from her, right? It just makes sense to you? Or you might be wondering, why do I like watching movies that's like witch movies? Maybe you connected to Hecate. Maybe you hooked up to something. Why you can't stop watching Greek movies? Maybe your soul is telling you used to be a fighter in Greece, right? Really be thinking about this, right? Also think about, why are you afraid of voodoo? Maybe somebody took you out from voodoo in a past life. Why are you afraid of guns? Maybe you got taken out by a weapon, right? The reason why I say this, my friend Tammy, again, when I was younger, I used to wonder why. I never been afraid of guns, but when I joined the military, the first time I put my hand on a gun, my hand started shaking, and I never understood why. And I told her about it, and she said, "Oh, that's because you were shot at in another life," and it made sense. So it's like the spirit world made me face my fears by going in the military, building confidence to hold a weapon, and shoot one, right? So now I don't fear it. Does this make sense? Same thing with water. I love water, but there used to be a time where I wasn't a big fan of water. Maybe I drowned in water. You know, I'm getting this. And also, I have an affinity for water, and I have visions of me sailing the seas, right, in multiple different cultures. I have visions of me writing, and one of my talents right now is to write and to speak. So I'm just bringing this up, other than trying to figure out what kind of spirits you connect to, what kind of deities you connect to. Other than, of course, this is not me denying that we're a part of an omnipresent source. Yes, we are. But sometimes I feel like when you look deeper into your soul, you start realizing, okay, that's probably why I went through this hard time. Or this is why I'm always getting blessed. Maybe you're with a spirit that always brings you fortune. Or maybe you're with a spirit that's guiding you that always puts you through the hardest obstacles to build you strong again. You know what I'm getting with this? Because everybody has a lighter spirit around them and a darker spirit. People don't know this, right? You're always going to have a spirit that's going to taint you, try to taint you. And you want to always have a positive spirit. You just got to figure out which one are you going to listen to, right? That's just natural. That's on like an angelic realm. So you have an angel here, and you have an angel that's kind of like an energy where you want to call it negative or demonic. That's over here. But other than that, you have an oversoul. So other than the omnipresent soul, you have another spirit, right? That your soul is connected to. Now again, what I'm saying is a lot of what I'm telling y'all might not make sense because, like I told y'all, from my perspective, 99.9% of you guys probably will not understand this because you're just a regular human soul that probably has intuition, regular gifts, and it doesn't mean you're basic or normal, not normal or anything not special about you. You're just a regular person. Nothing wrong with that. You might not even be interested in this. But there might be one person that's watching this that feels like they might be connected to the underworld. There might be a person that feels like they're connected to the highest heavens, or you feel like you're chosen. You feel like you're an incarnated angel. A lot of times when you get these thoughts, you're not crazy. It's technically something from the God source telling you who you are. And also, people need to understand, even though there's light and dark energies, it still came from the bigger source that's above the demigods. It still allows these things to play out because the God source still has that much love in his heart because it has high hopes and hopes that things can be balanced eventually. So it's always going to have a duality because that's how things are created. That's how you know from right from wrong. Right, like a volcano starts chaos. It breaks the ground up in the earth and it destroys life sometimes, but it also recreates life. That's how humans are. Okay, that's how it is. You either light or dark, but it's always to create something either good or bad. But at the end of the day, eventually, as time goes on, it's going to bring balance. Okay. So again, man, I just bringing this up because this is something I was thinking about, like, because I kept seeing these spirits around me, and I never really could pinpoint it. And I don't really. It's amazing I'm making this video because this is something I really talk about with my family. I probably accept my mom and my sister because they are more open-minded, but and my niece a little bit, but she's too young right now. But the rest of my family, I wouldn't say this because I don't want to be demonized or looked in a different way because they're like, see, it's one thing to be religious, and I don't have nothing against it because I came up Christian, but they're almost like overly religious where they can hear a noise in the house. Instead of them being optimistic just to think it's just a noise or just a ghost or a spirit who could have been a human, they'll automatically just assume it's a demon when it could just be a random ghost that came in the house or just a noise. That's what I don't like. I don't like when people just automatically assume that every single thing that somebody talks about just because it doesn't seem Christ-like, that you think is evil. Because one thing I've learned in my life as well, a lot of times people who think they're of the light are not, they're the ones that's bad. And I know a lot of times the people who think they're evil, they're good. Meaning, it doesn't mean their evil acts are good, right? It's the fact that I've seen people try to be bads. Like, excuse my language, badasses. You ever seen how a man, or some women, but main men, some men, they try to act bad, but they're not tough. Like, a person can try to fight them and they'll cower it in, or they'll act like they're gonna win the fight and they'll be the first ones to get knocked out. Those guys who act tough, but then to be that quiet guy that's always nice, but they didn't know he can fight really good. That's how I look at people. It's like, some people seem like they're dark and evil, but if you really get them there, it's just a defense mechanism. They're weak. But a lot of the times, the brighter people who are more like, I guess you say, if you want to call them light workers or whatever energy they're in, they might seem passive, but if you push them wrong, they might do more damage than the person who's trying to be a badass. Does this make sense? Like the cool person, or the cool person who, stuff like that. Or even the people who want to do wicked. I've seen people who actually have done wicked stuff to people who rob people. But then when you go to fight them, that person that robbed, they did that in a sneaky way. They had to have a mask on and all that. But if you come face to face with them, they'll break. Not all, but it's a good portion. I've seen good guys beat up guys who were known to be robbers. They just didn't know how to fight. They just run around and been sneaky, and so that's their karma. And it's something because I realize again when it comes to good people, I'm not gonna say all the time, but when you see good people, especially more quieter people, more reserved, whether they're the best fighter or not, I don't feel like it'll be wise, because something I've seen too as well. I use me for example, right? I'm not a big on fighting, but if I have to, I do it. But I know in my childhood, I would let things ride, but then something like a slide, I should say, and then things will happen to people. Like they have a car accident, they'll lose a leg, like something happened, and I don't send nothing to them. I'll be like 12 years old, 13. I never understood why stuff happened to people that it do something to me, right? And it was kind of creeping me out. I was like, what's going on here? And then I realized you don't have to do much. And I feel like you guys could be the same way, like a spirit that you don't know or God's source can push people out your way unknowingly. You don't need to, it doesn't mean you don't pray, but you don't really need to really send spells to anybody like that, because a lot of you guys might be connected to a higher source that's really moving people out the way. That's why, if y'all notice, you hear stories about the God's source saying there's no really need to get revenge against people a lot of times, because of the fact that it's going to be taken care of in some form or fashion. And that's why I tell people, be careful who you mess with, right? Because again, a lot of times the good people, y'all don't know how far their thoughts can go. Like they might be positive, but in their subconscious, they might have evil thoughts, and those evil thoughts can manifest and spawn an energy to go against you that's trying to do the good person harm. Even if you do a spell, and you can be working with the most craziest demon, they might not last, right? They might not last going against the wrong person who don't deserve it. I'm telling you right now. And a lot of people don't know, when you send spirits to people, you might feel like you're not going to get karma, but you may get karma in the afterlife or in this life if you have children. Sadly to say, this is why I tell people, be careful when you pray against people, or even praying is not good if you pray against the wrong person, because if you're trying to do someone damage, if depending on the karma in that person's lifeline, if it doesn't hit the person, if it doesn't get the person back who sent it to you, it may get their children, who you may seem don't deserve that negativity that happened to them. But how the universe looks at it, they may know that if we give this man who just hurt my child karma, right? He might be more numb to pain. So if somebody's trying to do you harm, you might feel like they should get karma, and they may, but the spirit world might know that we can give him karma, but he's very strong, it's not going to affect him. But if we give karma to his children, that's going to break him down to see his child in pain or getting beat up every day, and that'll be his karma. And you might be like, well, why does the child deserve that? You gotta understand, when kids come into life, it's like us. We already know what's gonna happen to us. Like, I don't condone people getting beat up, but like, it's like you go through negative stuff to pretty much like get rid of a negative karma faster. So it's like the harder the life, the harder the lessons, the faster the karma goes. This makes sense. It seems like even when people have afflictions, it's like the more, if you come here afflicted, whether y'all want to call it handicap, it gets rid of karma. Okay? And so that's why I tell people, I said this before, if somebody's rich and you're broke or you're just mediocre, don't compare. Everybody has their own life path, right? But I will say though, the wealthier you are, you got to figure out a way to have balance and be humble. But also, if you are a person who's poor, you got to find a way to always be grateful no matter what you got. Just like these videos, when I'm making these videos, right? See, this, I got to tell y'all something. I don't like to speak on this, but like, all right, face value on this channel, I think I have, 200 people. On my TikTok, I got like about 600, whatever, right? Right? It doesn't mean anything, right? Because like what it is whenever I acknowledge a thank you or a gratitude for the very minimal people I have, or however many likes I have on TikTok or whatever, just me being grateful, what happens is I get blessed. So what you guys don't see, right? Y'all might see, okay, he doesn't have 100,000 followers, but I got 6,000 likes on TikTok. But that's still not a lot compared to like Anita Serene, the star girl. It doesn't mean anything. That's face value. That's ego. I told myself when I came to this earth, whether I get a lot or not, it's okay. But the thing about it, I get blessed. So for example, y'all might be like, man, I wish he would get more people. He's a nice guy. Like, listen to tonight. All right, that's fine. I respect y'all comments. But what happens is that when I acknowledge the God's source or my angels and being grateful just be able to be alive today, and I wake up to give y'all a video, right? Just me touching one of you guys and just me being grateful, they bless me. So for example, I might not have a lot of likes here or a lot of followers, but what happens is they'll put money in my pocket, right? Meaning like, we know, you didn't have much money for food the other day, so All of a sudden, I randomly get money, right? Or I might have been alone for a long time. They know I'm lonely. Next thing I know, 6 months from now, I get a friend that wants to play basketball with me, or I get a girlfriend. This makes sense. It's like I'm telling y'all this for example for you guys. So for you, use yourself as an example. You might be working at your career, and your career you might be struggling, right? And meaning as far as like wanting to know when you're gonna get promoted. So you might make good money, but you're wondering when you're gonna make it to the top. You've been working here 10, 20 years, when you gonna make it to the top? Well, instead of keep thinking like that, right? What you should do is continue to be grateful, right? Now, what I'm being told is the more you be grateful with that, right? And this is what I've been telling people, the more you be grateful just for the little you have there, right? You might not get promoted, whether then or ever, but what happens is just you being grateful, something else may happen. Like the God source or your angels might know you need a new car, right? But your credit's not the best. But you working at the same job that you get a promotion on, just you being grateful, right? And then also acknowledging the God source that it's an actual real source that is actually vibrant and alive, just like the angels. When you do this, they hear you and they'll bring you a car. So like even though they know you may want a promotion, right? They know you also need a car. You just didn't really put too much emphasis on it. They're gonna give you a car. This makes sense? I hope this makes sense. Or they might say, like you might be lonely. You might been like single for 20 years, but you got a son or a daughter that's been kind of somewhat single for a while. And you're praying to God that I don't want my daughter or my son to be single for 20 years like me. Well, guess what? Like just being grateful just for being alive, even though you're a single woman or man, your children are gonna get blessed to get married faster than you would. And then just you doing that, you'll be surprised. 6 months after you do that prayer, you may meet a man or a woman that's going to marry you, even if you're like 65 or 75 years old. Does this make sense? And if you think I'm joking, in Texas, where I'm at right now, that I just moved to right now, there's a man, he lived to 114 years old. He was a veteran. He still had his driver's license. He was riding his car and everything like that. This man, when he was 110 years old, 4 years before he passed away, he had a girlfriend, believe it or not, that was 91 years old. She was 91 years old, still able to walk, and she would visit him on his patio, and they would drink juice and sit there and eat ice cream every Friday. And do you know what this man said? He said every Friday he would drink one shot of whiskey. That's it. And he passed on natural causes. He didn't have no cancer. He had nothing. So when I saw this, and I think they have a documentary on this man on YouTube. I might share it with you guys so I can find it. Again, he lived 114 years old, had his driver's license, everything, guys. I'm telling you the truth. And he had a girlfriend that was 91, right? So even though she's a girlfriend, it's still good to have a companion along the way before you pass. And it's not like he's out there doing sexual acts. They were just friends, right? So I'm just sharing to you, that tells me that there is always hope. No matter if you're 60 years old, you can always find love if you be open-minded to it. And this is something I've seen from the spirits that are around me and the things I experienced in my life. So just to get back on the original subject, I almost kind of like went on a tangent here. I just want to put a bug in your ear. Just think about, we're all connected to source, right? Even people don't really understand this. Even the darker realms, which I call the underworld or hell, even the heavenly states, it still comes from the same source, guys. I don't know how somebody can put, like, say if you are monotheistic, I don't see how someone can put the devil energy over God when God allowed the devil to be. It spawned it into life. And so if you believe the story of it rebelling and falling to heaven, it still came from God. God just allows it to have a certain amount of time to do what it does. So if you think like that, and that's just all life. Like when you see corruption in things, it's allowed to happen. It doesn't mean it's the end all be all. It's just a test. This makes sense to you guys? The whole thing is about life is being optimistic and watch how you react to certain situations in your life so you won't build extra karma. Okay, but also recognize what your soul is. Sometimes you might be that unique soul. Maybe you are just a regular human soul. If that's okay, right? But just be aware that there may be other souls out here that may not be from the same, like, how can I say, vibration or energy. Meaning, y'all may came from the same omnipresent source, but this person in front of you, even though it's a human, right? This is not it's not a movie. This is real life. This person may be attached to a negative spirit, like a negative demon, or a positive spirit, or a god or goddess form. You don't know, okay? Because I do feel like less than 1.8%, if not lesser, I feel from what I've seen are maybe connected to a soul, where a demigod, like because these spirits, these things have messed with people. Think about it, if you can believe in succubus messing with people, you best believe that fallen angels, if y'all want to call them that, or angels in general, or demons, they mess with people, guys. I'm telling you right now. If you wonder why you keep being drawn to certain people, certain souls, that may be it. Does this make sense? Because every human, right, even besides what I said, even though we humans, we are all not the same. Even twins are not biologically the same, okay? The makeup. So if you think that's how it is in the flesh, your soul, it still has a different spark. That's why y'all got different zodiac placements, right? With different moon charts, different sun placements, different rising signs, right? We all got the same zodiac signs, but it's at different placements, different degrees, different flesh, different bloodlines, different experiences, similar but different. The only thing is we came from the same light source to a certain extent, but you still may be connected to a deity, right? You got to understand this. So you wonder why you having nightmares, or you wonder why you always, as much as you try to be with the light, you keep being drawn to the dark. It's not necessary that you're evil, guys. It's just that may be showing you a sign. What actually helps spawn your life is the darker energy, what you call the underworld. And even with me saying that, I'm not telling y'all to go that way, but just really look at why are you feeling like you feel, right? And then also look at that might show you why you feel outcasted in life, okay? Because I know even me, as much as I try to have friends, I'll always somehow, not because I'm purposely trying to be in her mode. It's like I always will be looked at differently, of how I dress and do things, or just how I am as a person. Even when I was a child, and I was always outcasted. And I noticed a lot of the spirits that come towards me, even like these goddess forms, they deal with people who've been outcasted, shunned, oppressed. So like I told you this before, even though I'm a man, right? I was very shocked when I saw Hecate and Lilith, because in a lot of stories, it seems like they always deal with women, okay? And it seems like they don't like men, but it's like they've been, But I had to think past my gender. I had to think past my culture. They're looking at my soul, right? That's what helps me get out of the human construct. It's like that's what keeps people in the matrix, because you can't see past yourself, right? And this is me as a straight male. Again, I love my gender. I love everything. It's just I'm just telling you, I had to look at it from outside that to see why would a spirit would come to me. Because another thing is not a lot of masculine speaking up for the divine feminine energies, and that's, if y'all notice my channel, I do that a lot. And so like this is something I just been noticing, man, because like it's just mind blowing the things they show me. Definitely, because like I give you an example, like when you look at Archangel Gabriel, most of the time Archangel Gabriel is masculine, right? But some people who have the eyes to see Archangel Gabriel or feel the energy of him, even if they can't see him, they still feel like he's masculine. But some people say it comes as Archangel Gabriel, a female, right? Because it's gender neutral, okay? And that's because the reason why I can do that, because that same angel has masculine and feminine energy, and it can choose to come to which way it wants to come to you. If it wants to come to you as a masculine form, it will. If it wants to come to you in a feminine form, it will. So I give you an example. If you're going through some pain, it might come to you so you can receive some nurturing motherly love. So even though its name is Gabriel, it might come into the Gabrielle form to bring you that love, because maybe God, the omnipresent source, said you need to give them that love. They lack love from their mother, or they lack love in relationships. So Gabriel's going to show you that way. Or he can show up in a masculine way. Whether you're male or female watching this, they can come to you at a time where you need to be proactive at your job. You need to be proactive with taking care of your children. You need to be proactive with praying more. You need to be proactive with just protecting yourself, right? So he'll come in as a soldier, warrior. Angel is protecting you and guiding you to speak up for yourself. What are you doing? And it's going to be masculine, the Gabriel. This makes this because spirits can shape into whatever form they need to build you up. Just like the goddesses, like you see, like the mother, maiden, and crone. Sometimes you need a maiden. You need something a little light to get you going, get you inspired, right? And then sometimes you need a mother to nurture you and protect you. And then sometimes you need the crone to get in your behind and like, get up. Like the crone, get up. Doesn't matter how old you are. You got to keep moving, like this crone energy, right? So she has all these phases, because if you think about it, as a mother or a father, you all go through certain phases. Y'all can't tell me, like, y'all can tell y'all were a certain way when you were 18 and 20. And if you look back, you were a certain way when you were 30 to 40, then you were a certain way when you're 50 or 60 and 80 and plus, right? We all had these phases in life. You just got to pay attention and sit back and see why you're acting like this. Other than outside influences from your environment, but also if you're really keen in, really feel the energies around you, even if you can't see or hear spirits, because I have times when I'm not seeing them sometimes, I can feel, I just know you have to trust your inner knowing, right? Because everybody has a spark of that God source within you. And the same thing when y'all talking about the Kundalini, right? That's when y'all waking that up, that is the Shakti. That's your feminine energy. Even the masculines got it. It's the snakes. That's it, right? And that's why if you notice on a lot of deities, they always are connected to the snake. It's like something hidden within you that you need to reawakening, which is the Kundalini, the divine mother. And this is why the divine feminine is rising. They always say she's rising. She's coming from your sacral chakra. So right now, if you notice that sometimes, even with straight men, some people want to call them sassy, whatever. I'm not saying that men should be sassy, but at the end of the day, when you're seeing men seem to be more into themselves now, and then you see some women being more masculine, more outspoken, more demanding of what they want, it's showing you that, and this is even with straight women, right? What it is, the energy is switching. So what it is, the God source is showing you that even a woman, even if she's straight, right, for an example, she can be in her masculine energy, be proactive, speak her mind, and be warrior-like. That's why you see someone doing MMA, and then you can see another man, he may be straight, right? But he's more passive. He's getting in his emotions. It's kind of chaotic because it's new to him, and that's the feminine, right? So the feminine is rising in him, showing you that you don't have to be a man to like the same gender, or you don't have to be a woman to like the same gender to embrace and feel the feminine aspect in you or the masculine aspect in you. Does this make sense? So if a woman is not used to seeing a man express the emotion, because back in the day they told men what? It's kind of punkish to not express your emotions, right? So they hold it in. Now because we're going to the age of Aquarius, these things are awakening into the man. And then women, they are also oppressed with it. People feel like the time they shouldn't say anything, keep their mouth closed. So now there's a masculine energy coming through and making them wake up, but they're doing it in their feminine gender, which you're still a female. And that's still a way that how the Kundalini is pretty much the two service rising up in you, showing all aspects, male and female, which is still connected to the omnipresent source, but definitely more so from the mother energies, definitely more mother, because mother, the Kundalini is Shakti, like I stated, and you're here to communicate that all, right? And again, the main reason that many people I see that get affected by this, that don't understand why are men acting like this, or why women acting like this, is, again, this is nothing against people out here. If you're watching my channel, if you're monotheistic, I'm not down to y'all, but a lot of people are too closed-minded and too monotheistic minded, especially with the Abrahamic. This is like, why are they acting like this? She needs to be calm and humble, like the Bible says, and he needs to do this, blah 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 blah, right? But you're also going off another man's writings, because even if you feel like it is of God, all right, which it could be, you're still going off another man's writings, just like me. I'm of God, you're of God, right? But y'all don't know if God speaking to me. You don't know if God can speak to you all the time. God speaks to us every day. So what makes what I say any wrong or right what that person said in the Bible? The thing what I'm trying to say is, when any text, even if it's a Hindu text, right? When something has been read multiple times, whether it be the Bible, what is it called, Islam stuff, Hindu stuff, right? You have so many people who believe in any of these books. You give the book power. That's why the Bible was breathing. Even Hindu texts, Sumerian texts, because so many people believe in it, it's powerful. Now, if these books would have just been made yesterday, it's not that much power in it. But what happens is a lot of people have died and passed away off these books. You can cast spells with songs. People have casted people off with these things. So now, yes, it's going to be powerful, guys. You got to think about it. This is like almost older than 2,000 years of text, guys. Why wouldn't it be powerful? That's like right now, this charm, right? If I tell myself this thing is anointed and protected always with the power of God within me, and I tell my niece, hey, wear this for protection and save my life. If she believes it, it's gonna be protective. And if she has kids and she tells them the same story that's protected her, you go down 500 years from now, this thing is gonna be extremely powerful and it'll curse people. That's how you charge amulets, guys. It's about belief. And when you pass something on, that's how it hurts people. And same thing with writing. That's why they tell you to be careful what you say. When you say something in a home, people can pass away in a home, right? But your words don't go nowhere. The energy's still there. So if there is drama and stress in that home, people who move in there after you are going to feel that energy. I hope this makes sense. So again, this is how strong the spirit world is and the energies. And this is again why you need to look in where your lineage is, your actual human lineage is. If your ancestors did anything that was negative, that could have brought family curses to you, if you are able to do that. And also definitely pay attention to your dreams. Really pay attention. What are these spirits looking like? Not just if they come into you in human form, because I see some spirits that are translucent and visible looking, but I see their outline in their bodies, whether shadow or light or neutral colors. And you get from when I see those energies, I feel off the energy if they're masculine or feminine. Okay, and so again, you guys all have the power to do this. Okay, this is not some magic trick. This is not like, oh, I didn't invoke any spirits to get these thoughts in my head, guys. This is just my own inner knowing, just me remembering stuff that I seen. So yeah, I just had to say that, guys, because like the world is much more than what it is. Because like again, I feel like we need to stop giving people power as well. When people keep talking about the 1%, oh, the government running this, the government has these draconian bloodlines. Okay, maybe so. But like guys, I hope you know. Like I hope you know. Do you know why they try to like put stuff in the food? Do you know why they keep us so distracted? They know they're not, like, even though they're seen to be the 1% and they keep reincarnating into the same families. I hope you know one of you guys who is watching this video right now may have the same power as them. Even if you feel like you're broke, you might have that same power, but it's dormant. So that's what I'm telling you. You might have an angel blood, like an angel soul, right? A soul tie, or ancient. You might be an ancient angel. You might be even a daemon. Be honest with you. You might be anything, right? And so what it is they don't want any human realizing they might be that 1.8% I'm talking about Earth, that may be a star seed, that may be, like I said, an angel, any of this stuff, to reawaken this. Because once you reawaken it, right, you can actually heal your body, and you'll be able to draw the angels that's connected to your soul family to come heal your body. So a lot of the miracles you heard in the Bible, once you spark that within you, other than the Kundalini, you're waking up to heal your body. You won't need all these pharmaceutical medicines. You won't need all that. Because what happens is a lot of your past lives, right, that you had, and also your family trauma from in this life, is carried out in your nervous system. You can look this up. A lot of trauma is carried out in the nervous system, and it plays out. It's because subconsciously you still are holding on to negative thoughts. So consciously you feel like you might have got rid of those negative thoughts, and subconsciously it's not, and it's held in your nervous system, guys. And nervous systems can, if it's out of whack, it can affect your chakra lineup, and it also can affect you to have diseases. Seriously, it starts off as a thought, and it affects everything else, guys. I'm telling you right now. But it's going to affect everybody's nervous system different. Some people, it may affect certain organs that's connected to that nervous system, whether kidney, stomach, heart, or whatever. So you really need to look at that. If you notice you're getting hyperventilated, you panic a lot, you might want to look at that. And also look at the placement. So also look at your what do you call it, your rising sign for your physical body, or correlate. You'll see what's going on. Because whatever your first sign is, your rising sign, it can help you alleviate a lot of the health problems. So I'll give you an example, right? Aries rising, right? It'll be really good for you to be proactive, actively working out. Even if you're a person you feel like you're old, you can't lift weights, at least walk around your house. Like, not inside the house, but outside the house. Do that like 8 times. Just get the energy out. Sing, do something, right? Because it's going to help you. It's going to help you. You're in the first house, guys. You got to get that out. This makes sense. Put some red in your house. Some colors, right? Get going. What happens is, if you don't, you're going to get bored, especially if you're Aries rising, you're going to get bored, right? You're going to get depressed, and it's going to mess up your nervous system, right? And then you might start getting headaches and migraines, because remember, Aries rules the head. Makes sense? Leos, you got a big heart, so be careful with cardio. Be careful what you eat, and you might suffer from a lot of heartbreaks. It's Leo energies, right? So again, I'm not going to put that on all y'all, but just realize I'm not going to go through the whole list, guys. I don't want to make this video too long, but again, everything plays out, guys, okay? Because like I tell people again, the omnipresent source is everywhere. But how I look at it is, there's nothing you can do to stop these planets. These planets shoot energy into our body and souls, and all these planets carry our past life karma. And so what happens is, you might have been 20 years old or 30, you didn't experience nothing negative. Then all of a sudden, 30 to 40, you experience crazy stuff because it was time for you to get your karma. Not just because Saturn returned, you just got to deal with this. Mercury might have had some karma for you because maybe you said something wrong to somebody in a past life, so now your throat chakra is getting messed up. It just makes sense. Maybe Saturn's coming in, you mess somebody's money up in your past life. It just makes sense. Or maybe you're dealing with trauma where people made you feel oppressed as a child, like you couldn't speak, and then what happens is they shoot this. When I mean karma, I'm not just talking about karma because you deserve it. Yes, to a certain extent, but it's also for you to learn it, the lesson, so you can build yourself strong. They want you to face your fears. That's why the earth seems dark. You must face your darkness to get to the light. Okay? Nobody, because from my perspective, whether we chose to come here or not, there still has to be a certain type of aspect of you that's not the best to come in a place like this at such vibration. There has to be a lower side of you to come down here to experience this. There's no way, because like we're saying this, the angels this with us every day, but like they don't like to get tainted. And I said this before in a previous video. 1 year old, 2 years old, and when you're a baby, the angels are right in your face. They're all right here. But then when you start getting 7 years old, and when your chakras are fully developed and your brain's getting developed, and you start experiencing certain children, even if they're 7 or 8, they got vibrations that are, how can I say, inherited from their family. So they might not be the best. You might have gotten bullied at 7, 9 years old. That's 10-year energy. You're getting depressed, you're getting mad. And so you do that, that's a negative energy. It's not that you can't get angry, but when you get angry too long and you start doing stuff, you start taking stuff as a child or doing stuff, acting out of character, your vibration gets low and your angels back off. So like that 1 foot closer as they were with you, they start going 3 feet. Then you get into middle school, right? You start hitting puberty. You start looking at girls and guys, right? They like that, but then if you start, say if you're a bully at 14, they'll back off, right? Or even if you're not a bully, if you get too depressed or too in a low vibrational state, they'll back off. So you might ask for help, right? You might say, God, help me. So when you was a baby, they might come immediately, but you say, God, help me, they'll take 30 seconds instead of like 1 second. Then when you hit like 16, 18 years old, they right there. But say you start smoking cigarettes, you start doing bad stuff. I'm not saying cigarettes is bad, but I'm just saying you start doing negative stuff to ease your trauma, they get more distance. What it is like they're a light, guys. They don't want to get tainted. And what happens is you think you're hearing your angels, but what happens is you're hearing a darker spirit. And not always an angel or not always a demon. It's just like a darker spirit. They also could be a past on family member that wants to feed off your energy because it was depressed. And you wonder why you depressed. This makes sense. And you don't realize it early enough before you're 18. And when you're 18, you're fully an adult. You're going with this negative energy to college or whatever you're going to go to. And you draw more people. Right? And say you saw your mama go through like negative relationships with men cheating on them, you might gravitate and bring men that are cheating to you as well. Right? It's inherited spiritually. And also in your aura, and then you praying to God to protect you, to help you have a better relationship. He may do it, but it may not. It's about how you look at yourself. You need to change your perspective, do a lot of self-love, do the work, face your shadows, and don't just blame people for doing things to you. Be accountable. Because again, just like somebody does you wrong, a lot of times y'all are not married to these people unless you put a ring on the finger. But if you're not married, you can leave them. You can always leave the person, man. Unless they got you bound with a weapon to you or they got you tied up in the house, there's no reason you can't leave a negative connection. Unless you got kids. To a certain extent, if you got kids, y'all in the same house paying the rent, that may take longer to break away from somebody. But if you don't have kids with somebody, y'all not living under the same roof, there's no reason to be stuck in a negative connection with anybody unless you are codependent on them because you are afraid to be alone in life. And so if that's the case, no matter how many times that person has cheated on you, then it's now your fault. Because even though they cheated, you had time to leave. You just chose to sit in it in hopes that they would change when you knew better. Right? And so you just adding on to your heartbreaking trauma. See what I'm saying? And the spirit will see this and your angels back off. So like they're there, but it takes longer. That's why some people are like, when my blessing gonna come? When my blessing come? Because now it seems like you're complaining. Right? So it's like you have to really think outside the box. And this is for anybody. I'm talking to Christians, anybody. Like, it don't matter. The source hears you, but it's like you have free will. You have that much free will, but you have to realize what you're doing. You have to worry about what you're doing. Okay? Because if you don't, you might end up being surrounded by spirits that you think are angels, but they're not. And again, it doesn't mean your angels are not there. Your angels are always with us, no matter how dark we get. It just may seem like you're not getting help. It may seem like it's taking a long time to get stuff because you let too many negative influences enter your life. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that your angels are not strong enough to move all these spirits, but it's the thing about it, your free will. They can only do so much with intervening. Like, they help, but they can help even more when you ask. Even with God, that's why in the Bible it's like the God source wants acknowledgement. And even if you don't believe in the Bible, right? Say if you believe in the goddess or anything like that, when you give a spirit acknowledgement, you get and it shows gratitude from you, and they bless you. Same thing with deities, demons, all that. When you show them acknowledgement, it's showing that you as a human recognize they actually exist. Even if you don't see them, just you feeling their vibrations, or you just feeling like they're alive, you give them life. And you resurrected them, and they are grateful, and they will bless you. And people wonder how is demons able to bless you? That's why. And you can keep saying to yourself, oh, you may owe a debt to a demon. Possibility. It depends on the situation. You can owe a debt to an angel, right? Because you don't know what angel you're talking to. Okay, guys? You can owe a debt to a god deity. But technically, nobody's really owing a debt because all these spirits are owned by the omnipresent source. So like you might have a debt or something you need to pay them within the next couple of years or afterlife, but it's not like a permanent thing. Nothing's permanent. Even if it feels like you're 50 years restrained by a spirit, right? In this year, in this life or whatever, that don't mean it's gonna be like in your next life. Again, it's everything is like case by case basis. I'm not gonna sit here and I don't want to take too much of my time on this video talking about all this stuff. Yeah, I just wanted to speak about this. I kind of went on another tangent, but it's still, if you really think about it, it all correlates. If you really open your mind, it still all correlates. Because my original topic, again, was talking about spirits and do you feel like you're a different kind of unique spirit, whether you feel like you're an angel form, a daemon? Because also with that word daemon, before it became demonic, like demon, daemon in Greek it could be good or bad. Back in the day, they used to look at angels good or bad. They can be neutral. It just means they can do whatever vibration they want to go into. Right, and also before the underworld became hell, it was just underworld, a place to take care of the dead and people's ancestors. But there is a place where y'all would consider, I guess, purgatory, but there's different levels to the underworld, just like there's different levels of the heavenly realms. Right, and then people back in the day would always wonder why certain heavenly states wouldn't touch them here on earth, because again, we're beneath them, we're tainted. So that's why it's easier to conjure the earthbound spirits or the underworld spirits, because they're right here. If you think about like Osiris and Isis, they dealt with the underworld, right? They can heal, right? I'm not denying that a heavenly energy can't heal, but a lot of the energies that you see healing is motherly energy, earth energy, womb energy, dark energy, the underworld energy, like the womb. Again, like I said before, when your child comes out your womb, it's in a dark hole, and it comes out. Y'all know how it goes. It's dark, the dark water, and it comes out, and the child comes out into the light. That's how I look at us. When the luminaries are glowing, those luminary energies, bodies, whether you want to call them gods or goddesses, whatever, and they project energy, but they're inside of a dark womb, which is space, ether, the mother. This makes sense, guys? As above, so below. And I told y'all this before. When y'all believe the earth is flat or whatever, it doesn't matter. When you see the scientists out here, and this from a military man, and I'm giving y'all a clue now. What is this? They say airplane. Airplane is on a flat place, flat land. But if you notice on space, they say spaceship. They don't say space plane. I don't know if people don't think about this. When you hear spaceship, why don't they call it airplane? So how airplane is airplane, why don't they say space plane? They say spaceship. That's telling you it's a ship. And what do ships do? It goes through water, guys. It goes through water. That's the biggest clue. It goes through water. Do you notice they practice in water? The space is just another form of water. Hello? It's more in a gas state. That's why they have to have certain gear on. They can't just have like scuba gear on. It's space, water. They have to break the firmament, right? They got to break that, whether you want to call it the firmament or the ozone layer. I'd rather call it the ozone layer. And you break it and you go up there. And there's nothing but darkness out there with luminary energies. And the reason why the ancient ones were able to see the stars, because the stars are in a different placement. I'm telling you guys. And if you look at the Bible, right? I'm telling you right now, astrology is all in the Bible, right? When they was talking about Moses blowing the ram, the horn, that's the ram. That's the time of Aries, guys. I'm telling you right now. And when they are worshiping the cow in the Bible, the bull, that's the age of Taurus. I'm telling you right now. It's all, you gotta read between the lines. Now, I'm not denying that some people may have not existed. I'm not here to say all that. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just telling you guys, be open-minded. And again, these things are not a myth. I know for a fact all these spirits are real. Ereshkigal is real. Lilith is real. Hecate is real. A lot of the spirits y'all think of mythology are real. Because from my perspective, off of traveling, I don't feel like that these people made temples, pyramids for no reason, just to be lollygagging, right? For something that's fake or artificial. Because if that's the case, we can say that about our churches here. Our churches are, whether they're Christ churches, Islam churches, whatever. That's like, how would you feel if these ancient people say that we are praying to mythological gods, things that are mythology? Because you don't know, 1,000 years from now, this can be seen as mythology. And if y'all notice, on all the church, we have steeples. Did y'all notice on the church there are steeples? And they look like obelisks on top of the churches. That should be a sign. I'm giving y'all clues to look into. So really think about this, guys. Just like a lot of the churches on pagan temples. I've been telling y'all, of the pagan places, I say, not temple, pagan areas. People need to wake up, and then they've been known to conflate. Even the Greeks, they're known to conflate Mithraism, right? They conflated a lot of stuff. A lot of stories is coming from that place, ancient Iran. So again, guys, just really look at that, man. Look more into your soul, who you are. You might also, I would tell you this, if you are a person that likes having friends of all different types of backgrounds, and say if you are one of those people who don't mind talking to different cultures, I would tell you this, there's a high chance that some of the cultures that you're attracted to, or even some of the food that you like to eat, that's already a sign of a past life you probably had. Seriously, possibly past life you probably had. You don't understand why? There's a big clue. Even the movies, whatever movies you like to watch, that's a high chance possibility. And what I mean by this, I'm not talking about cartoons, guys. I'm talking about like if you notice you like watching medieval movies, high chance. If you like watching witch movies, yes, high chance you're definitely a witch. Does this make sense to you? Even if you don't do no witchcraft at all right now, you just watching witch movies is telling you what you used to be. Tell me right now, it's a fact. So again, before I end this video, really look into that, man. If you decide to, really look at every aspect of why you meet people and all that, but definitely look at your own self. Like maybe the reason why you feel different, maybe your soul is just a little bit different compared to other humans. It doesn't mean you're better. And again, it doesn't mean because you're just the most old person. It's not just that. That's part of it. It literally could be because you chose to come into this life during different incarnations. You might have always chose to come on Earth when Earth was going through major transitions of spiritual awakenings. Does this make sense? Um, you don't get with this? Like in terms of evolution. And then you might notice that sometimes you notice you drawing luck. Maybe you chose life to always go in times of luck and blessings, but you know your love life was messed up. So if you know your love life is messed up, maybe you need to try to figure out how to fix that. You know what I'm saying? It's because like maybe in your past life you just are a person who didn't care about love, and now you're about to have a habit of falling back into a place of not caring about love again. Like you know this. You gotta really look at this. Like not just culturally, not just what your religion's telling you or whatever your belief system is, or even if you don't believe anything, just really think about your own soul. And if you can remember your dreams, I'm telling you right now, the best way to do this stuff, if you can remember your dreams, it would behoove you if you can try to figure out how to remember your dreams, meditate, or ask your angels. And if not, if you can't remember your dreams, do some tarot, or just pay attention to what you draw. I'm a person that believes that even if you don't do tarot, and if you are not one to go to church or do anything spiritual or meditate, if you can't do any of that, the best thing is to look at the people around you. Really look at people outside your family. Like look at what kind of people have I drawn around me. Even if you're a hermit, you could have been a hermit for 15 years. Still, try to remember what happened to you 15 years ago. What kind of people did I draw? And then look how much you change your energy. And then also think about what you used to like 15 years ago. Did you used to like gothic stuff and now you're more like casual? Like what's going on? Right? Did you have dark aesthetics? Maybe in one of your lives you used to be dark. You know what I mean? Like just really think about it. Doesn't mean you're evil, guys. We're here to learn, okay? So just think about it, guys. Because like I'm a person, so last time I'm gonna say this, it's just I feel like from what I've seen, especially myself, I will get guided by spirits that seem scary, but they meant a lot of well for me. And I couldn't understand it. And even the girls I met, I'll meet these, like, I had sometimes in my life, I'll meet gothic kind of women, even when I didn't dress gothic, or I meet these witchy kind of women, women who are already, like, spiritual. Like, for example, when I was 11 or 10, I was in Italy, and I was in computer class, and it was this Hispanic girl. She asked me, what is my zodiac sign? And I never heard about a zodiac sign. I was, like, 11, and I said, I'm a Scorpio. And at that time, I was a Christian, but I met her through my school. So that's telling me that as much as I was trying to be Christ-like, it's like spirits were already sending people to me indirectly to show something about me. Does this make sense? It's not like she taught me anything, she just did that, and it sparked my mind ever since then. Just like when I first heard about spirit guides, I heard about it on my own off of a random encounter in 29 Palms in the desert with another lady. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's like they sent it to me. And every time I try to run away from this path, it's like they always pull me back. And this is before it got mainstream right now. Cause like I told y'all, I'm about to be 40 next Friday. My birthday's next Friday, right, on the 15th. So at the end of the day, this is stuff that I seen. Same thing with spirits. I used to always question, why am I seeing ghosts? Why is, when I was at my dad's house, he just bought this house, the house started shaking, and he didn't realize it was 100. It's crazy. Just like when I talk about spirits as well, like there was a Book of the Dead and a Book of Revelation in there, and it was an Egyptian book with deities and spirits in there. I was 19 years old. My dad threw it in the trash, and he found it in the attic. My dad was doing cleaning. This house was made in like the 1940s or something. It was old. What happened was there's archaeologists that lived in the house, and they're doing like spells and stuff. And there were spirits that were restless in there, and they knew that I could see spirits, and they would mess with me. They're trying to mess with me. Whenever my dad would go to work at night, they'll come and mess with me, like try to like scare me, right? And one of them rang the bell, disappeared in smoke. I saw a whole car pull up in front of my house. This Caucasian guy with a toolbox knocks on my door. The spirit within me and around me told me don't open it, and he disappeared. Then it was just wild. And then and it was all because of those Egyptian energies. Like they carried back stuff from Egypt to the house, and the house was shaped like a triangle too. I didn't tell you guys that. It was in a forest here in Texas, guys, and there was no earthquake. The whole house shook for almost 2 minutes. It was broad daylight too. So I'm just telling you guys, like through my whole life, I try to run away as well from the Egyptian stuff. But then I realized I had a lot of strong past lives in Egypt and Greece, dominantly, strongly, and Italy, and these spirits came back. Technically, like it felt like it at time to hunt me, but they're really trying to wake me up to the truth of who I am. This makes sense. Like when I first saw Ra, I was like, "What is this?" He's like, "I want to protect you." I'm like, "What?" And then I thought I was delusional, and so but it was always bad though because whenever I ignore something, then stuff starts happening that's not the best, right? But definitely, he was the only masculine energy. But other than that, it's always been feminine energy. And I know a lot of guys that I meet, my friends, or if I decide to tell them, or even women, they always look at me like I'm crazy. They're like, why would a goddess energies or feminine energies go towards men? Because they question because of the books. Like I told you before, the books keep saying that certain spirits won't connect with men. But like I told y'all, it's not my flesh necessarily. It's my soul. Okay, my soul has like from what they told me, it has like a nurturing feminine aspect of it. It's too nice. And so what happened is I'll get people who will try to oppress me, whether women or men. I've had some women that I dated, they were very strong and demanding, and I would be passive. Like meaning I'm a protector. Yes, I'll fight for them and everything. I would not let no dude do any girl I dated harm, but it's the fact that I'm almost too nice. They almost take advantage of it because they never experienced a kind man, and so they almost take advantage of me. And I wasn't knowing any better, and it almost hurt my heart. It was just a lot. I don't want to get into that, but I'm just sharing to you though. They would see this though, and because a lot of the stuff that I go through, I told y'all this before. Most time women go through. Like I went through a assault issue, a masculine energy, an actual man. Had this issue. I was 19. I was young. Who goes through that, bro? Who goes through that? And it's wild. So at the end of the day, and that person was like a monoculture. So like at the end of the day, and I was just trying to study, cause like I got somebody had a put some type of a drug and a drink, and they got me. But it's a touchy subject. But long story short, the feminine. I'm only bringing these up because the feminine aspects around me have seen the things I went through that normal men don't go through. That's because my soul chose to go through this, even though I'm a masculine, to understand why women feel so much pain and why do they go through so much stuff with men. And so it's kind of like they want me to like speak up from the things that are hidden. It's like they want me to become some type of advocate, right? And so again, even with my job when I was in the military, I noticed that they always had me having before I became supervisor, they always had me having women supervisors. Like I would work for women, I would support women. I noticed I would stand up for women, and it's not that women can't stand up for their own, but it was like I was a light for women when they almost gave up on men, or they felt like all men were trash. This makes it like the spirit will always put me in spots or energies around the world or at my job where I needed to be there. There was even a time where I had a whole shift of women that I used to work with. They're all pregnant. It was 10 women that were pregnant, and it's like they work for me. And in the military, because they still let women who are pregnant be in the military until a certain time of pregnancy, right? And so it's like it was interesting because I got to see, because even though I never had a baby, I got to see how it is, how women are when they're pregnant. It's like spirit was always showing me something of how women are. Does it make sense? And then I grew up around a mother who was abused, cheated on a lot of times, real young, real pretty, and I never could understand my mom so pretty and all this. Why is this happening? She's so sweet. And then my sister getting hurt and all that, and then it's just a lot going on. And so I saw a lot of women getting hurt, and I told myself I'll never hurt a woman, like, right? And so that's just growing up. And so I was empath. I was soaking about her energy, and so it was like I was a man acting like my mom, as far as like I was a straight male, but I had all this sensitive energy. But then I would draw certain narcissistic women, certain crazy people. Don't want to talk about this, but just like there's men that are bad, there's women that are bad. It probably doesn't seem like as many, but and again, I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to speak on it. And again, that's one way I learned about my soul. So I'm only bringing these topics up, not to keep talking about me, but just in general. Start looking at your whole life as a whole. Not that y'all are not, right? And really look at why do certain people draw to you? Why do you draw certain spirits to you? Why are certain ghosts coming to you? Why does this happen to you? Right? All that. Like I noticed that depending on my vibration and the energy, right? I remember one time I was in San Diego, I told myself, man, I'm thirsty. Man, I wish I had something to drink. And I had I had like a little bit of water. And then I remember I had my teacup here. So I was in this Chinese restaurant, all of a sudden the cup starts moving towards me. And at first I thought that Chinese restaurant was haunted. Long story short, 2 years later, I go to Japan. And I was like, man, this food's so good. I can't wait to drink this water. I said in my brain. Next thing I know, I look at the cup. And this is Japan. The cup did the same thing, comes to me. It did like 2 pulls towards me. And then that's when I realized I don't think it's hunting. I think it's just me, right? Just like every once in a while, if I'm around somebody who I love a lot, I'll hear them in my head. Like I was in the kitchen about 2 months ago at my mom's house. My niece was there. She was like 10 years old, and she was outside, and I heard something in my head when I was cooking in the kitchen. I heard something say, "I wish my uncle would play with me," and she was like playing like basketball outside, and then it was so loud in my head. I went outside and I said, "Layla," I said, "Did you say you wish I would play with you?" She's like, "Yeah." She said, "Yeah, I heard you. Heard me. You heard me," and it scared me. And I was like, "Oh Lord." So I've had things like that, even with friends. When I was in the Navy, when I was transferring, leaving the ship, I was walking past this guy, and then one of my friends, he was like, "I'm gonna miss you, D," and I was like, "What?" But his mouth wasn't moving, and I came up to him and I said, "Hey, did you say you gonna miss me?" And I startled him. Same thing when I was in another point, when I was in the kitchen, not the kitchen, but the mess hall. So the mess hall is like a cafeteria on the boat. I'm sitting there eating, and I hear this girl cussing. She's like, "I'm tired of cooking this effing rice, this effing rice." She was saying the F word, and it was so loud, I couldn't control my ears. I left the cafeteria and I went to the place where they cook in the kitchen, and I heard the girl yelling still, and I go over there and I didn't tell her nothing. She was just like, her mouth was closed, but I can hear her voice in her head, and she's like, "I'm tired of cooking this effing rice." And I said, the Castro." She's like this Filipino girl, and she's like, "What?" I said, "Why are you cussing at the rice, man? You gotta stop." And she's like, "Oh my God, you can hear me?" I was like, and I scared myself. And then it's like, wow. And then I had another girl I was walking past, and I had no idea that she even liked me. And I was walking towards her because she asked me for a paint bottle because we were painting the walls. And she was like, um, she's like, "Oh, cutie." And I was like, "Cutie?" But I didn't tell her that because I didn't want to make her uncomfortable. So I'm just telling you that, like, that was something about myself that I learned that happens every once in a while. I can't control that, right? And I don't mind this phone ringing, guys. And then lastly, I had another instant where, this is what made me not tell everybody about that. Like, I told somebody that one time, this Marine, right, that I was working with, and he was Catholic. And I told him that, "Man, I don't know what's going on with me. Sometimes I hear voices, like from other people's thoughts." And he's like, "What?" And then he said, "Me and my mom practiced this." I was like, "What?" Now, at first, I thought he was joking, this Marine guy, right? Next thing I know, I walked to the cafeteria one day to go get something to drink out the drink machine, and I hear something say, "Hey D, hey D," because my nickname was D, right? And I'm like, "Where is this coming from?" And I heard his voice. I recognized his voice. So then I walked over there and I told him, I said, "Hey man, you need to stop. Don't you ever do that again." And he starts laughing. He said, "Oh, you can hear me?" I said, "Yeah, I can hear you." So then I went back to get my drink, and then he tried to do it again, but because I told myself I didn't want to hear it, it blocked him. And then he ran up to me. He said, "Did you hear me this time?" I said, "No," because I told myself I didn't want to hear you no more. So that's when I realized that even though he was a Marine, I had no idea he was in spirituality. But because I brought it up and I told him about my gift, see how he's trying to taunt me? Like, even though he was a good guy, he wasn't really evil. It's the fact that that wasn't the time or place to do that when I want to eat my food in peace. This makes sense? So I'm telling y'all too as well, if y'all have a spiritual gift, if y'all are connected to an angel, a deity, or whatever God form, it's not always the best to just tell everybody about what that specific spirit is, or all your dreams, because it's not that somebody's going to necessarily take it, which they could try to, or block it. It's just the fact that respecting your boundaries, because you might have somebody like that, which is, he was okay, but I wasn't really trying to entertain that energy. This makes sense? And so that was a valuable lesson. So I could have got mad at him and got evil about it, but I just took it as a lesson where, you know what? A lot of times, you shouldn't be sharing everything with everybody. Because again, if you're meant to have a person that's like-minded, the God source or goddess source, whatever you believe it is going to send you that right person to connect with, if at all. Or it may just be meant for you to just stay by yourself or connect to yourself if you choose to do so. But nonetheless, you're never alone, because your angels and guides, which you guys already know, are always around you. Right? And because a lot of times, especially these last 6 years, I've been more alone in my hermit mode. I haven't went on a date in a while, a couple years. I've been celibate for a couple years. I've been focused on myself. I think since 2018 June, right? And it's worked in my favor, right? Feeling more healthier than ever. So again, that's just my stories about spirituality and things like that. I might make another video about something else that maybe be shorter. If you stayed in this video this long, I appreciate you guys for listening. And again, it was mainly the original topic, and a lot of this still kind of correlate. Was just recognize the spiritual energies around you, but definitely recognize, like, maybe there may be something unique about yourself that you never really thought about until now. Alright, so next time I'm trying not to make a video too long, guys. Alright, so with that being said, my name is Knight, and blessed be everybody.